Regan Slaymaker for International Boxing News, and I have the pleasure to be joined by boxing legend Teddy Atlas. Teddy, Joshua-Dubois fight week, how have you found the whole week in London?
You know, how can it not be a good week? You know, you come to a place that is like, in some ways, the birthplace of boxing, where the Marquis of Queensberry rules date back to the beginning of that, where it became a more civilized sport, you know, where it became a more advanced sport, where it got to the next place, where John L. Sullivan wound up fighting under the Marquis of Queens. He was the toughest man in the bar, toughest man anywhere, you know, bare-fisted, last champion in the bare-fisted era. And then all of a sudden they put gloves on, and all of a sudden they go by the Marquis of Queensberry rules against James J. Corbett. So it goes all the way back. This country has a great history and connection with boxing. And 96,000 people just remind you that's going to be there tomorrow night. Just remind you of how loyal and how great the fans are. I often say, you know, I don't want to get no man, but the Mexican fans are great, the Irish fans are great, the Puerto Rican fans are great, you know, go on and on and on, all the nationalities. But I don't know if there's a greater fan base than the English, because they come out all the time, no matter what, for their fighters. They come out and support them. The heavyweights, all of them. And this is further proof of it. So to be here, to answer your question, to be here in a place where you have that kind of passion for a sport I've been in 50 years, that kind of history, and you're going to put on a heavyweight title fight in a historic arena in front of 96,000 of fans I just talked about. How does it get better than that? The only way it gets better than that is the storylines. That you got one guy in Dubois who 2 fights ago, it looked like his career would be over. You know, he had done something that fighter never supposed to do. He gave in. He mentally broke down. You know, some people say he quit, he dogged it, he this, he that, whatever. But he broke down. He got broken down by Joyce, he got broken down by Usyk, whatever, with the controversy. At the end of the day, his will got splintered, got taken away, given away, if you will. And that's a death sentence for a lot of fighters. That's a career ender for a lot of fighters. But he didn't, his people around him, Frank Warren, credit, his trainer, Don, his father, of course, they didn't give up. They didn't give up on him. And he didn't give up. He came back against Miller. He came back against Herjavec. And what did he do? He redeemed himself. Wow. How powerful is that word, redemption? That's more powerful than anything that might rob you of your will, or anything that might scare you, or anything that might weaken you. That strengthens you. That revitalizes you. And he came back and he redeemed himself. And he fought that fight. And I've said this before today. He's fought those 2 fights where I really believe, to my core, I've been in this business 50 years, I believe that he would have fought it for free. Yeah. It wasn't about money. It wasn't about a record. It was about him, his soul. It was about him finding himself. It was about him being able to look in the mirror and like who was looking back. It was about him being able to get dressed every day and walk down the street and feel right. It was about him being a man and living with himself. And he did that. He showed great fortitude, great courage, great will. And now he's going to take that and he's going to go and see. And how good is this? If everything I said is not enough reason to watch and enough reason to buy into why this is special, he's going to take that and go in the ring with a former gold medalist in the Olympics, 2-time heavyweight champ, a guy with great skill, and give us an answer to a question. Can will beat skill? Can the will of Dubois, he's got skill too, don't get me wrong, but can the will Can the will of Dubois go in there and beat the power in the right hand and the polish boxing ability of Joshua, who's also gotten himself to a good place now mentally? Can it do that? Can it do that? And also, we're going to find out that we know he's grown as a man, as a fighter, where he's now got the belief in himself that he can overcome, that all people need in life. To know you can not to just be good at what you do, but to know that when the moment comes, when the devil knocks at the door, you can handle that knock at the door. He found that out, that he can believe in himself, he can depend on himself. Now we're going to find out if he improved technically in the last few months, because he can't go and eat the kind of right hands, I don't think he can, that he did against Herjavec. Hat off to him. He did it. He broke him down. I don't think he can do that or depend on doing that against a puncher like Joshua. I just don't think so. But then again, who might underestimate what belief and will can do? Who might underestimate where his trainer Don, his father, all the people around him have made him believe, and I think his trainer is a big part of it, have made him believe that this fight is preordained, that it's kind of like the war of the art of war, where the great war philosophers, strategists, what do they say? The battle's won before you ever get on the field of war. The battle's already won. You believe you won it, it's already won. Well, if he believes he's won it, and Don has history with Joshua, I know that, whatever it is, and I also know that they sparred together, right? And Dubois did okay, and that's only in the gym. I get it. This is the real deal. But if Don has helped convince Dubois, and with his recent successes of overcoming what he's overcome, that he can't be beat, that this man can't beat him, that it's in his destiny to win this fight. If he really believes that, is that more powerful than a right hand of Joshua? I tell you what, I'm interested to find out. I'm curious to find out. I'm excited about finding out whether or not it is. And we're going to all get a chance to find out. But again, I would hope from a technical, physical standpoint, they did their homework and somehow they improved his defense from the last time he was in the ring. And if they did that, and you couple that with his belief, he's got a good chance to get to Joshua and hurt him. But if you put a gun to my head and you made me pick a winner, which I think you want to do, I would say that the first couple rounds are going to be telling, going to be dangerous for Dubois, especially trying to get through that bad neighborhood I used to talk about when I commentate on ESPN and when I do my podcast, where you got to go through a bad neighborhood to get to the guy, and you can get mugged in that neighborhood, you know? Can he get through that bad neighborhood? Can he get close enough to Joshua without eating too many right hands? That is, again, that's the question. Early on, it's going to be tough. If I had to make a pick, like I said, I give credit to both guys. Should be very intriguing, very interesting. If I had to make a pick, I would have to favor Joshua. You know, with the not just experience, but the ability, the power that is much greater than what Herjavec had. If he can catch him the way Herjavec caught him, it's going to be a tough neighborhood to get through early on without getting mugged. So early on, I think AJ, is going to have a chance to do something spectacular. But, and there's always a but, that's the greatness of this sport. You never know. If Dubois can get through that bad neighborhood, get through those early rounds, and start to impose his will that we just talked about, and start to impose his physicality, he's strong, he's a good puncher, can start to get inside close enough to catch Joshua, maybe standing straight up. If he can do that, that would look out.
Definitely as well. I've just been told to rush, so I'm going to ask you one more. We were speaking in the queue about Hamzah Sheeraz on the card, the middleweight, big tall middleweight. What excites you about Hamzah Sheeraz?
Everything. His amateur background, he's got an amateur pedigree. He's still learning in the pros, still developing in the pros. His power, his size, his length, but most of all, his ability to use those things. His ability to have gained an identity already in his business when he knows what he is. He's a tall guy that has the control range, keep you at the end of his punches, and make you pay a price to get to his territory. Make you pay a price to get to him. Again, he's got the God-given physical assets. He's so tall, he's so long. Oh, God, he could hit you across the street with his jab. But the skinny guys, a lot of people don't realize this. The wiry guys like him, they get leverage in their punches. For me, they are always dangerous punches if they learn right. Because you look at Tommy Hearns, you look at Alexis Arguello, Carlos Cervantes, Bob Foster, you look at Lou Jenkins, if you really want to go back to the 30s, 40s. These guys looked like they needed a meal. They were so skinny. And meanwhile, they got leverage, they got torque in their punch, they could punch. He's one of those. And again, I've seen a lot of guys with the physical assets of height and length, but they didn't learn how to fight tall. He knows how to fight tall. He's been taught how to fight long. If he can stay with that discipline, with that identity, there's nothing but great things for that guy, and that's why I feel so good about him.
Definitely. Shout out Hamzah Sheeraz. I was going to say, I think your team have, I think I've outstayed my welcome, but Teddy Atlas, it's been a pleasure, and thank you very much for your time today, my friend. Thank you very much.